Well, hello, good afternoon to you. Welcome to the Rude Boy Sound. I'm DJ Paul for another edition of the Spurs, the Sound Off. And right now, as it is, we want to take a quick look. Well, not a quick look because we're not going to review uh, the the game as it was, but what we'll do is just uh, give a quick overview of the results today. Brentford. I said Brentford. Brentford against Spurs. And unfortunately, I missed most of the first half. I'm not sure I had a 9:30 start, but it actually starts at 9. So by the time I started watching the game, we were already one up. And so, f- being that as it may, uh, I did not see how the team evolved into exactly what they were doing. But you could tell that there was an intent to 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 um to be a little bit more compact, less of the roaming by the fullbacks. I could see from looking at the game exactly what they were trying to do. Very rare, y'all. Do you really have that? Very, very rare. That even if it's not perfect, even if what they're trying to do was not perfect, it was a perfectly intended way of playing that we were never going to um, be so wide open. And we were going to at least make sure that if we are going to have a say in the game, being away as well, is that we're going to apply a little common sense to the game. And so I want to touch on this before I actually start going over some of the words that I find myself making notes from. And I'm going to go back to the same thing that I've said during the two games, uh, the half against West Ham, not West Ham, but Newcastle, and the Carabao Cup game against Liverpool. And this is an overriding theme that we keep saying for those of us who are critical of pragmatism, of not having enough pragmatism, and a tactic that you can actually see when it's happening on the pitch. This is the moment, and this is the best time to say, well done. A game that was played based on the merits of the game, based on the criteria of what the game. We needed the 3 points. We went there, we did what we had to do, and we got the 3 points. Very clear point here. After we score, from what I saw, right, and I have to go back further maybe and look at the beginning, but because of where the goal actually was scored, I'm only going to look to see if it was deliberately from the start. But from where I saw the game, I could tell you that it seemed to me and my eyes that the way we were playing was actually deliberate in how we were holding the fullbacks in on both sides. The tendency, of course, still remain that that is how we play. Those are the tenets of our game that we are going to attack with the fullbacks, but in a more measured way. That was the first word, and I'm going with a lot of adjectives here, and maybe adjective phrase to describe how Spurs actually played. And while I'm not going to crown this with any beauty, it was effective, right, enough for us to come away with the points. The thing with this win is that this win and the way we played, right, tells you that you're learning to play a certain way. It is more than half the season that we are into. And so for those, I wanted to address the people who are saying that we have no patience and we see what Ange could do. But at the same time, if you're telling me I have no patience, this has been 20 something games, including Europe and also the Cup games, where you only have two games: the Newcastle game and the game against uh, Liverpool, that you see any attention that was paid to this is how we want to defend. This is how we want to make sure we keep players in front of us. And you saw that today. Even though Bomo, right, who the ball goes to, and that's another thing that you have to give the team credit for. When you know where the ball is going, you can know how to defend. And today the ball was going outside to Mbomo, and then inside towards Wizard. There wasn't much threat coming from the left hand, so the right side, their left. So you have an inverted Mbomo, who you had to pay strict attention to, and that was done by Spence. That is what you want from your fullback. I'm happy for Porro that he didn't have much threat coming down from the left side, and even though he was tucked in, which may have done him a world of good, that being tucked in, don't have to be running the length of the pitch. Then you see exactly how a team, even a guy like Porro, who seemed like he's always out on his legs or been out on his legs for games, that he can have something in the tank, something in the reserve. So there was some level, and here comes the word pragmatism, that I see coming out of the game. Even if Ange never said that, because I said this already, he's so stubborn that if he gives into this way of playing, I think in his own mind he's saying that the detractors are going to win. And I said that on my previous video, that it takes a whole lot for Ange to change course. And what I'm saying, what a lot of content creators and studio personnel I heard have been saying, that you don't have to win the way you want to win. You get to that destination by being pragmatic, being tactical, understand what the situation is on the other side and the team that you're playing against, and what you need to do. And what we have never done in the past was to make sure that we respect what the other team is doing. What was happening is that we play wide open because that's the way we play. And today did not call for that. You have to make sure that you keep those players in front of you, because they themselves are not going to play wide open. So you have to take your chances. Playing a reckless out of the back, which we did sometimes, also will come to your downfall. And I'm going to make this very, very short, 10 minutes, 15 minutes maybe or so. But the essence of what I'm talking about here is that it's a good win. It's a good win for the morale. It's a good win to take you into Liverpool. It's a good win to now go back to the pitch, training ground that is, and try to implement and put that in place. That this is how we play it. Go back to the chalkboard, go back to the drawing board, look at the game and see what we did when we scored. Especially, we weren't allowing them the chances. Even they created chances, give them the credit. They did create chances, but that's okay. You're still learning to cope and play a different way. Your mindset is changing on the day. And so you see some of that, or you saw it, some of that happening during the game. So what you were looking at, you weren't worried about the personnel. This is a game that you're not going to worry about the personnel. You're going to worry about the system. You're going to worry about the tactics. You're going to worry about all of those things. Am I playing the defense now? Do I look like I'm about to break even when I set up in my defensive shape? And we did not look that way. And so as you play, you see what happened. You play long enough to make sure that time, not possession, but time goes against Brentford. And what happened? They are going to eventually expose, because they're looking for that goal. And then the teams are going to get desperate as it is, right? And that's the easiest time for you now to click back into what you know from day one, because that part of your game is not going to go anywhere. What I've said before is that you have to suffer at one end in some instances to implement the whole the entirety of what you really want to do. And in this case, by pulling in the fullbacks or giving them less advantageous role of going forward, or sending them deep and fast and without no risky, wide open. I think that was one of the words, or two words together that I had, that we were not wide open. And you could combine that with played to the situation. So from we score the goal, we were playing to make sure that we don't give up the goal, which is playing to the situation. Again, we were not wild, which means that it wasn't that we have the ball and the only thing that we're going to do with this ball was to make sure we go down to the other end and stick it in the back of the net. At one point, we have lost the game control of the game altogether. No midfield, the ball was going everywhere that it needed to go. But the thing with that, in a situation like that, or situation, play to the situation, is that the ball was in front of you. Even though we lost the midfield for a long time before Bergvall came on, we never lost sight of where the ball was, which is most important, especially when you're trying to implement, if that's what Andrew was trying to do. And I'm going to say that with a caveat because I want to give him credit for realizing that we can't do the same thing that we're doing without Romero and Van der Ven. And even with them, can you imagine? If we have Van der Ven and we have Romero and we're holding the fullbacks in and they're providing the additional support that you need, how solid we can be as a defensive unit, and then having two midfielders literally sitting in front. You could see what's his name? You could see the effort that Bissouma made to make sure that he stays inside, stay on the ball, do the things, put your foot on the ball, and make sure that we kill that time. So the team, what that does when you put your foot on the ball, even if it's the offense, putting your foot on the ball allows you to get in shape, whatever shape you're looking to get to. Putting your foot on the ball allows you to go into the positions that you want, meaning that if Bissouma puts his foot on the ball, then what it allows him to do, if Spence is not running away from the pass, then he has an additional pass out into the flat. Same thing on the other side. Benton Kerr put his foot on the ball, then he can always go to Porro. What that does is that allows Kulusevski to say, oh, am I going to stay wide or am I going to come inside? And so it makes a difference. And then but what you're looking at, if the ball is left, you're saying, Porro is saying, oh, I can't go because Kulusevski is narrow. So therefore, I have to hold my position as a fullback. So you see all those little things coming out when you're trying to play 101 football. This is how I want to defend. This is how my shape is going to be. And you saw a lot of that coming out of this game. And so I'm going to give the entire team credit. If I was to rate the game and the team itself overall, I'm not going to go into the individual pieces. I would say this was a solid 7 to 8, and maybe give Ange a 9 for the effort, because I'm going to give him credit because at his instructions, when we were playing wide open, he gets that blame. So if we're looking a little pragmatic with a tactics that was based on the situation, knowing that what the situation was, that we needed to win this game, even to take the moral, even to boost the moral, even to boost the moral. I'm tongue tied here. I'm trying to wrap it up. I don't want to go too long, and I'm rushing on the words. But even to take this confidence, better word, into the midweek, knowing that we have a big task ahead of us going to Anfield, and therefore this win in itself is not the cure-all, it's not the end-all, but it's good enough to say we know where we are, we know what we can do, we know we can do it. So therefore, if we go to Anfield and snatch an early goal, we can sit on it. Not pull the handbrakes up, but we know that we have to make sure that we keep the likes of Gatpo and Salah and Jones, in front of us. That's what we need to do, and the McAllisters and stuff like that. So we need to. You're not going to get Liverpool on the back foot because they don't play like that, but you want to make sure that the scoreline dictates what you can do, and in the same breath, they feel, and I'm saying this right now, Liverpool, in their own mind and in their dressing room, will tell you that they're better than Spurs. Do I agree? Yes, we do. But what you can do is that on the day, you can be the best team out there just for that day. And if we are, on that day, maybe just a half, we need to be the better team, period. And so if we can do that, it means that with the one goal that we have up, we can make one half of the game where we're better than them, it means that we might be up 2 or 3 in the aggregate. That's how I'm looking at it. It's a good win. I'm not going to get into all the fans who are saying, look, Ange arrived, because trust me, this is only a one game. And like I said, I saw this against Newcastle and I was excited. I saw it against Liverpool before and I was excited. And we reverted to doing the same thing that we're doing. And then we started losing games on the trot. So I'm not going to criticize a win. I'm actually crediting the entire team, the manager. Whatever we do, we want to see more, a little bit more of this, please, the next time we see Spurs. And that's the end of it. That's it. I'm giving them full credit. I'm the Rude Boy DJ Paul. Oh, I messed up again. I'm DJ Paul. I'm dropping the Rude Boy, y'all. I'm DJ Paul. Thank you for joining. For those new subscribers, I appreciate it very much. Hit up the like, comment, and let me know what you think. Peace. I'm out of here. Let's go Spurs.